Well, another beautiful day for an inside video. Let's take a look at Tim's Gladiator. Well, thanks for choosing another Matt's Hobbies video. I've had a lot of interest in this vehicle. I know that's because Axial also released the real actual thing. But yeah, I want to take a closer look at what's going on here. I know we haven't done a build status update in a while, so we'll just do that today. So first things first, this body. I think it looks really cool. It looks very scale. I think the proportions are correct. It looks a little weird from certain angles. You'll notice there's no tailgate, and that is sort of a leftover detail from the body swap mod. This toy, the bottom, the suspension and the wheels and the interior were all held on with the bottom plate. And so when you take the bottom plate off, one thing that is also held on is the tailgate. So we take the bottom off and we immediately notice the tailgate just falls off. It is just a cheap metal toy. Looks good though. So again, this notch in the grill here is for the servo horn, which does not fit unless you tilt the axle forward, which is what the designer of the kit did. That's not the way you want your axle tilted. We'll leave it at that. So we went ahead and leveled it out, but that required making some room behind the body. So there's that. I'm wondering if he could have just moved the body forward a little bit more. You know, that would only have required 3 or 4 millimeters, maybe 5 millimeters is all. Like I said in my first video, it is poorly implemented, but it is a great idea. It's such a good idea, in fact, that Axial did their own. So yeah, I mean, that shows you how good of an idea it is. All right, so here on the bottom, of course, it came with extended links, upper and lower. It did come with extended upper links. Well, let me see if I can just zoom in on this here. This, I believe, it was either the original front lower link or the rear lower link. And now it's in the upper position. So that's what brought the axle back to the level position. Let's go ahead and get the body off, which, by the way, only mounts again in 2 positions. That screw and that screw. So it is a little extra wobbly. We have some additional options. We haven't implemented any of them yet, but we're thinking about putting a spacer back here and putting a screw through the rear shock mount here. And that will stabilize the bed a little better. And we want to try to do something up front as well, but it's a little more difficult of a solution up front. Okay, so they provide an additional plate to mount the ESC receiver. They provide these two, let's see if I can, these 2 ears to screw onto the side of the frame rails. This is where the body mounts. They provide a sideways battery tray and the rear shock mount and the front shock mount. Things that we modified on that kit was the front shock mount. Now that I'm looking at it, appears to be a little bit wider. I don't know if I can really catch this on camera here, but it looks like this is a little bit wider, but that might be good because it's clearing the servo and giving plenty of room for articulation. So I drilled this hole and this hole to mount the shock mount the other way, because they had these rails right here and here facing forward, and they were interfering a great deal with the servo, and the suspension would flex. And so now, having turned that around, it works a little better. We're still in search for some stronger springs. Charging the battery, we've kind of oriented the battery in a way that the lead here can poke out the door, and I can turn it upside down and I can poke that out the door and get it plugged into my charger all right. But swapping the battery still will require taking the body off. Fortunately, unfortunately, Tim's other battery died and he has yet to purchase another. So we're not really worried about that yet. And of course, I would be remiss to not mention his hot racing upgrade here. He's got the hot racing steering link, little aluminum add-on there. I don't know that I really notice any difference in performance with that. The servo is not strong enough to flex the stock steering link, so since we're still clearly running the stock servo. What else might I add? It's super top heavy. Super top heavy. And we have clearly had it out, having fun with it. And its crawling performance is severely degraded. But this is Tim we're talking about. He is much more interested in the fact that the hood opens. No one else has that. The doors open. No one else has that. This is super custom, and he is really, really pleased with that. No one else has a Jeep that is like his, and that's what he wanted. And it's a Gladiator, and that's really what he wanted. So, in that regard, this mod is a giant success. That's exactly what Tim was going for. So, there we go. That is Tim's SCX24 Gladiator. There were a couple of questions in the comments. Somebody was asking how much of this body is plastic. So move that aside. So what we have that's plastic is this black top here, this little roof rack, and the bed. That's plastic. There you have it. I think we'll stop there. Hope y'all have a great day, and thanks for watching.